Hey everybody, and welcome to Epic Every Day, our weekday podcast for busy, stressed out Christians who want to find joy and peace and abundance and freedom instead of living in crazy town overwhelm.
Yeah.
I'm Liz Frericks. This is my husband, Evan.
Good morning.
We're so glad you guys are here with us on this wonderful Friday.
Yes, we are. Thank you for being here and spending part of your day with us. If this episode is helpful or interesting to you, which I think it will be, why don't you go ahead and share it with a friend now if you want. But please do share it with a friend. Tell them about the show and about what the CSCs mean to you. We hope that you're growing in your ability to use the CSCs in your daily life.
So since it's Friday, today's CSC is complete. And complete kind of has three components. One is utilizing your entire self. So you're not a fragmented person. You're not a different person when you're at home and at work. You're your whole self all the time.
Yeah.
The second one is not being stuck in the past or the future on the worry regret spectrum. So being fully present in this moment right now. And then the third one is living in what is actually happening, engaging with what's actually happening instead of creating kind of this alternate reality with either denial or just this is what the truth is, kind of putting blinders on. And this week, since it's our very last week of doing the podcast for at least a while here, yeah. We thought we'd talk about what we've learned about the CSCs in the past year of doing it.
Yeah, we're going to kind of talk about some of our takeaways of, because a year is a long time. We've been doing the show and we've been enjoying it, but we are intentionally putting it on hiatus to focus on other areas of Epic Every Day. We'd really like this to grow into a ministry and a business that sustains our family and does great things for the kingdom of God. I mean, we want to be useful tools in His hands. So we're going to be working on that. The thing that I love about Complete is I think I've learned something about it every week. I don't know. I feel like this has been a big struggle for me and something I really needed to learn. I talked on Wednesday about not being a chameleon and acting differently in different places, and that's kind of related to Complete and also being centered. But today, the worry, regret stuff, that's been huge in my life. Being consumed with worry and regret. I've had big things I regret, and I know how to worry too.
You do?
Yeah. And part of what gets me stuck is this fear. I don't think of myself as a perfectionist, but I get hung up because I don't want to take an imperfect action. If I've got to do something, I want to feel like I understand the problem fully, I know the process, and I've got the tools, and then I can just go and get it done in an hour or something. If I'm working in the house or the car or something, if I don't know everything about those things, and often to save money or just because I feel like, well, that's what guys are supposed to do, I'll go try to fix the car.
That's really interesting because I can see that in your type 2 personality. Just thinking about it. I never thought about it that way before, but when you were talking, it was kind of ringing bells in my brain because Carol Tuttle talks about how for type 2s, they want to have the perfect plan and they want it to just stay that way forever. Yeah,
that resonates with me. I want to figure out how to do something and then I'll just do it that way for the rest of my life. Having to
drive me insane.
Well, and it's been interesting. I could be one of those. I could be what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy 7 pairs of pants and 7 shirts, and I just wear one every day of the week, and they can all be the same. I don't care.
Well, maybe that means that you're a genius, right? I mean, isn't it genius?
That's what Steve Jobs did. Yeah, maybe.
So.
Yeah, I think there's something to that, but I've realized that really puts the brakes on progress for me. And part of it's just learning as you go, and being more okay with that too, because that is a big part of life. Hard. Nobody is born knowing how to fix a jet engine or something. You got to learn how to do it.
Even babies can't change tires.
That's right. And so accepting that about myself has been a big part of Complete for me. And I think it's, and letting go and letting God handle the consequences of regrets or what I perceive as the consequences, because, that's not always right either,
Right.
these mistakes. That's like, oh, why do I keep thinking about that? And why do I keep worrying about it? But it's there, but getting more okay with letting God handle that has been huge. And I've come to appreciate this moment right here and this one too, because being here is where God has me right now. And this is a great place to be. And I just love the imagery we've talked about all year of sending my brain into the past or sending my brain into the future. And those places are kind of fictions right now. I mean, the past at least is history, and that was something that did happen, but it's sort of...
Your perception is still sort of fiction.
That's right. And the future, worrying about the future, that is definitely an imaginary place that will never exist the way I am thinking about it, when I worry about it. And so this moment really is a gift from God, and I've been able to live in that more fully than I ever have. And I've just loved being able to meditate on it every Friday for an entire year. And one of the reasons we can trust God with the past and the future is because he's the one being that is there right now. He's here and he's there. He is throughout all time. And so he can handle my worries and my regrets because he's there dealing with it. And he's here dealing with me. And he's operating in grace and love. So I can give him my worry and my regret. And I've just loved trying to get a firmer grasp on that and actually do it where I let go of that stuff all year.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when I was thinking about this, there were two things that came to mind. One is just the power of utilizing your entire self. I have this Tai Chi quote on my desk that says, "A whole wave knocks you over, the spray just gets you wet."
I like that quote now. I didn't understand it for the longest time.
Yeah, but it's about being complete. It's this idea that if you are using your entire self instead of just little pieces of yourself here and there, you can accomplish great things. If you're just fragmented, you're just going to get some things wet. You're not going to be able to move them.
And what we want to do is knock down tourists, not just get them wet, right?
Exactly. Yeah, just recognizing the power of that and practicing being fully present. Because it's easy for me. I'm sure all writers struggle with this, when you're in the middle of writer's block, to be like, well, maybe I'll go check my email.
Sure.
And what's the news for today? And, let's look at Facebook. And maybe the kids need something else the dishes need done. It's easy to get focused and distracted on tons of other things. But recognizing that when I'm fully there and I just keep saying, nope, I'm here, I'm now, don't worry about that other stuff, I just get so much more stuff done.
That, makes sense. But we get pulled in all those directions.
Right.
And we're not being our whole self. We're fractioning off, these resources in our brain and in our kind of our schedule to try to get a million things done. And then we don't get one or,
Right. Yeah. So that, and then also you were talking about the worry regret spectrum. But I feel like for me, the biggest breakthrough has been to recognize that that's a habit. That worry over the future and regret about the past is a habit that my brain has. And so I don't have to stay there. I don't have to just be like, oh, it's just my personality. I'm a person that, worries about stuff, or I'm a person that's full of regrets in the past. I can just say, kind of catching myself in the middle of it and saying, wait, God's taking care of those things. It says that he redeems everything, full redemption, abundant redemption. It's not just like, oh yeah, that stuff, it messed up the past and, well, there's nothing I can do about it, but the past is eternally broken. It's, God is turning it into something beautiful. And then worry, Jesus specifically says, do not worry.
Yeah,
So having kind of that trigger in my brain that says, wait a minute, this is a bad habit that I've fallen into, instead of this is a personality trait. Because that's what shame does. Shame says, this is my personality trait and there's nothing I can do to change it. This is just who I am. So, switching that mindset to be able to catch myself and to recognize, one of the things that I did this year a few times was schedule freakout time. I can't remember where we read about that, but It was somewhere.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but
Somewhere in the course of our learning over the last year, somebody recommended scheduling freakout time. So when you're stressed about something, you say, okay, yep, I'm stressed about that, and I'm going to schedule an hour 3 or 4 days from now to totally freak out about it if it's still this bad.
Yeah.
And I did that several times, and I found that in 3 or 4 days, the situation had changed so much that it wasn't even worth freaking out about, which really opened my eyes to how much energy and how exhausting it was, worrying about these things that really weren't that big of a deal.
Yeah. And it can really wreak havoc on a day.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
Because, when you're like, oh, now I've got an hour to freak out about it, and what am I going to do?
Then you go do something fun instead, because you're like, oh, well, fine. I mean, I'm not advocating not processing things, because we do want to feel our emotions and process through them and, welcome them and then let them leave.
Yeah,
so
but if we realize we're overreacting or caught up in worry or, worry, mixed with whatever it was, like, that can be a really powerful and destructive force. And if we know that that's what we're trying to dissipate and take the power away from, that's all right.
Right. Yeah. And kind of another area where I've applied this over the last year, in July of 2017, last year, we started meditating before bed every day. And that has just transformed my sleep. Because for the longest time, when I was laying in bed, I would think about everything that needed to be done the next day, everything that didn't go well that day, and my brain would just be going 700 directions all at once. And so instead of, now when I lay down in bed, I tell myself, like, I don't have to do anything right now. I just have to lay here. How awesome is that?
Very.
And then if I start thinking about other stuff, then I say, well, nope, that's later. I can't do anything about that right now, so I might as well just enjoy laying here. And it's really made such a difference. You wouldn't think that would be so transformative, but I've actually been, falling asleep sort of on time instead of being a total insomniac.
You're becoming a pro sleeper.
I am.
Ready for the big leagues. Well, again, we've really appreciated you guys listening to the show. And, there is a year's worth of shows now. And every Friday, we talk about this idea of being complete. But every other day of the week, Monday through Friday, we talk about one of the other CSCs. They're being calm, surrendered, centered, connected, and complete. And if those are things you want to know more about, you can go back and listen to the shows. You can meditatively go through them, and you'll have a whole year worth of stuff to think about. So we'd encourage you to do that. And if you want to keep track of what we're doing and what Epic Everyday is going to be doing next, please come to our webpage, epiceverydaynow.com. You can sign up for our email list. You can make a comment on an episode there. You can come like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and we will keep you informed.
Yeah, because we're going to continue doing things with the CSCs. We just want to do something a little more focused, a little more intensive.
Yeah. And we're learning. We've been putting the information out there, but I think there's a better way to do it, a better way to teach people about the CSCs. And we're going to try to figure out what exactly that is and then do it.
Yeah, so you can be praying for us as we go through this process. As always, pick whether today is going to be awesome or not, whether you're going to strengthen those neural pathways to look for the good things in your life, because there are good things there. God has good for you today, now. Or whether to look for the negative things, because it really is your decision. We love you guys, and we, as Evan said, we so appreciate the fact that you have been listening. We pray for you guys, and we will continue to pray for you, and
we'll be talking to you soon. Hopefully, we'll be putting out information about what it is we'll be doing next.
I hope to see you guys at some of our other stuff. All right. Have a wonderful weekend.
That's right. See you later.